Well, I'm now delighted to be joined by Ian Hodgkinson from Hodgkinson Builders. Ian, the budget really did focus a whole raft of initiatives that are going to be good for enterprise, but specifically thinking about the construction sector and building. What were the key highlights for you?
The key highlight for me was really the housing zones. It's a great initiative that the government's going to give us 200 million, and not me personally, but the construction industry as a whole. Where we get preferred lending rates, we will get funding that we can hang on to, and it'll put us into a situation where it's investment in city areas, and Derby thankfully is one of those areas. We will also get technical advice and preferred planning as well for those housing zones. Derby is in need of some serious help with housing. Just in the next few years, we've got to find 10,000 houses. So it is an important zone to be in. And
you talk about houses. Who's going to build these houses?
Well, that's a very good question, Neil. Who is going to build them? Well, we've been trying to build some of them over the last 18 months. We've been really busy, and coming out of the recession, it's been a complete spike for us. Now, obviously, what happens in a recession is that people leave the trade, don't they? It was a long recession. It was 5 long years. So people just naturally disperse from the trade. And unfortunately, with this recession, there wasn't a lot of training done. In downtime, it's always been in my book that you train while you're not doing a lot. So you've got some tools to come out of it. But in this one, it didn't happen. So we need to start training now. We are desperate for those lads and for those young people to come back into the trade and help us build all these houses that we are so desperately needed. Country-wise, it is a massive problem. I know that year on year, we need something like 140,000 houses. Last year was a very busy year. We only built 100,000. So there's a problem of 40,000 already being left over from last year. So we don't need 140 now, we need 180. So we only build 100,000. So it's a compound problem year on year. So it's not just Derby or the East Midlands, it's countrywide. We need to get building and we need to get training.
And a couple of the other initiatives that the Chancellor announced, I believe, buy-to-let, there's some new initiatives on buy-to-let, as well as savings to help first-time buyers really get on the ladder.
In the previous budgets, the help to buy has been great for us. It really started the building industry going for us. But the initiative I really like is for the youngsters, that they've got a help to save for a deposit for a new house. So as they save money, the government pitches some money in. I think it's something like, if they save £12,000, the government will put in £3,000. Absolutely brilliant, fantastic. It will help them with the deposits.
And you've been doing something else to help youngsters in the last few weeks as well, and you've been working in association with Derby College to inspire young apprentices to be their very best. Tell me a bit more about what you've been doing there.
The initiative is called When I Am, and it's been a great initiative to be involved with the apprentices and the Apprentices Week at Derby College. From where I came from, I was able to use my experiences to inspire some of the youngsters. Fantastic it was, and there were, we got a good class, a good contingent of young brickies and builders, and they were being filmed, and it was in a competition, and I was able to work with them and judge them and see how they're going, and let them know that when they've done their college courses, there's actually fantastic opportunities out there, for a great living, a safe living. Building sites are very safe areas to work in these days. So it's a good prospect. And not only being a builder, you can then go on to management and a profession from there on. Fantastic opportunities.
I often hear feedback that apprentices maybe aren't always a great add-on because they maybe not ready to deliver the right sort of skills or have the right mindset to really benefit a company when they start there. What do you think is the real root challenge behind that?
That is, fantastic point. Well, I'm calling it oven ready, right? We've had the apprentices come from learning establishments and they're not quite right. Although they are qualified brickies and builders, there is some of the life skills missing, and they've got no transportation, they've got no bank accounts, so we can't pay them, and they haven't got the money, they can't budget and stuff. It's that I want to get across to them, and to talk to the learning providers that the life skills needs to be part of their apprenticeship, their learning, so they are able to come into building and live properly from week to week, knowing that the money that they get paid and the wages isn't spent on a Friday or Saturday nights. It's got to be used properly throughout the week. And that's what I want, that's the message that I want to get through. And also the understanding of how finance works. So they've got what their implications of being on site, the quality that they produce, and the respect for others, because sometimes they don't understand and it doesn't exist, because the peer group that they've been used to is not applicable to where they're coming in, because we like to be fair and they need an understanding of that.
Great points. Going back to the budget, I think obviously we've got an election coming up fairly soon, and Chancellor's trying to get a degree of confidence into the business community and sort of consistency going. How important is that to you in terms of running your own business?
Very, very, very important. We like to see consistency and steady growth. We don't want to see too many peaks or troughs. We like it steady, so we know what we're doing. We can plan. We can take people on steady, and we've got permanent employment instead of setting people on and then having to let them go. I like to see steady improvement. That is where I feel that we are, and I'd like to see that continued over the next few months, not months, no, sorry, years, so we can build this out properly.
If you had one wish that maybe you got the magic genie came out of the bottle, to really help keep your business growth going, what would it be?
A very good question. I mean, we've covered a lot of my points. I would say really it's the banks. It's the banks, really. I mean, we are building a lot of houses under contract and for other people, but we are a developer in our own right. And what we've experienced over the last few years is problems with banks lending money to us for developments. If they were to come back to the table and to lend money on reasonable terms, then we would be able to build more houses and so solve the housing crisis.
Other bits, I think we've seen the pint of beer is going to come down a penny, so that's always good news.
Absolutely good news, because you know what builders are like. They like to finish early on a Friday and have a couple of pints. I'm all for that. And
petrol duty, I think, is frozen in the autumn again, so that must be good news for...
Absolutely good news. I must admit, the petrol duty being frozen, and in fact, the cost of fuel over the last few months coming down has made a terrific impact on our bottom line, because it's just added a margin that wasn't there before, so it's fantastic for us.
Ian, many thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome, Neil. Thank you.